With the restriction on trading platforms for retail investors due to the massive rise on GameStop, the main reason cited for restricting trading was due to volatility. In other words, it was done for your protection, but the retail traders were the ones making the money. So that sounds like a lie to me. The people who pumped up GameStop won. They figured out the game and they nailed a hedge fund to the wall. Then the people in power decided to break the rules to fix the game. They restricted trading on retail platforms. And this may be legal, but doing something that infuriates people while holding a law up in the air is known to be a bad idea. It's not breaking the law, it's breaking the rules of the game. This works when there aren't other options. People in power have broken the rules in their favor for thousands of years. But it only works when people allow it to work because they see no better alternative. We've just had an information age and a digital revolution. And while financial inequality has risen greatly in recent history, equal access to information has also increased. Knowledge is still power. Curation makes it more powerful. And if you have enough people to sort through it and wield it, you have a dangerous weapon. Hedge funds pull the emergency lever on inequality to fix their game, but they're not as powerful as they used to be. Individuals are more powerful than ever, and times are changing. More in part 2. Robinhood and other retail brokers restricted trading on several equities this week. The first sentence of the latest article written by Robinhood is, "Our mission at Robinhood is to democratize finance for all." The fourth sentence says, "We are restricting transactions for certain securities." It's fine to restrict things in a democracy if it's the things people want restricted. That's how a democracy works. But to advertise democratic leanings in an article, and in the same article put restrictions on what people want, is to gaslight them. And it's an attempt to make the reader believe that they're on the same side, when in fact they are not. Robinhood had to restrict tradings for credible reasons so far as I can tell. But the way they restricted trading and how they communicated those decisions was an abysmal failure. I'm sure it was an insane amount of pressure from much more powerful institutions they couldn't handle. I wouldn't be surprised if their entire business was threatened by a single phone call. There are powerful people in the world, but that article was a mistake. And destroying their reputation with people who count was the price. More in part 3. A hedge fund wanted to make money shorting a company that people on the internet liked. Those people on the internet were the beautiful collection of degenerates who live on Wall Street bets. They're great. They've roasted me before and I enjoyed every minute of it. It was an honor. There's plenty of solid evidence that the game is rigged against retail traders. But the retail traders won this time. They did good. Then the big institutions made a fatal error. They showed their hand. People can play a rigged game as long as they don't get caught. I think the managers were happy to pay the fines for breaking the law, manipulating the markets, and controlling the retail investors. What they did may have been legal, and maybe it wasn't, but the restriction on trading showed how little control retail traders have over the game. And I don't think the people in control realize how much power they've lost by revealing how much power they have. I think the doors of competition just opened, and I think the old guard will lose. Most of us will cheer. I know I will. More in part 4. There are a lot of arguments about whether what the hedge funds did was legal or not. A lot of people are claiming that it was totally reasonable and part of a normal operating procedure, but it doesn't matter if it's legal or not. The buy side of the trade was shut down for retail investors. It was done in a way that gave the hedge funds an advantage, and that pissed people off. If this was legal, then that means it's okay to short a stock 140%, but it's not okay to fight back and win because the actual logistics won't allow for it. That means the law is wrong. That means the stock market is biased in one direction, away from the retail trader, away from the little guy. It doesn't matter if something is legal if it's biased in a way that damages the majority of people in a society and those people don't like it. That's not called legal. That's called a bad idea. More in part 5. People are calling this a normal pump and dump. Is it normal when it's fueled by the passion of retail traders putting in their life savings to destroy a hedge fund that stands as a symbol of the helplessness regular people felt in the 2008 financial crisis? By people who grew up confused about why things suddenly fell apart for their families and learned that it was because of things outside the family's control? By the people who now have access, information, and community that make them feel more capable and strong, who want to make things better? This is a result of the absolute need and desire people possess to be involved, to make an impact, and to feel powerful. This was a little movement of one of the strongest things on earth, the human spirit. Ignore it at your own risk. More in part 6. The restriction on trading that occurred on GameStop this week was the best presentation of a use case for the cryptocurrency markets that I've seen in a long time. The structures in place in the stock market are antique. The problems occurred because of the conflict between instantaneous brokerage interfaces, old guard institutions that require 3 days to settle a financial transaction, and laws and protocols that were designed for a different era. The cryptocurrency market is the next step. Eventually, the stock markets will be inside of the crypto market. Equities commodities will be traded on the blockchain. This isn't somewhat likely. This is inevitable. The stock markets are old, manipulated, and easily broken. The future has arrived. More in part 7. Part 7. The retail traders in the stock market want a fair game, but they're not going to get it. So they're going to leave. They're not going to get crushed. They're not going to get discouraged. They're going to go look for a place where they're given freedom and a chance to prove themselves. This will be found in the crypto markets. It'll be a wild west, but people trade and invest because they want freedom, clarity, a chance to prove themselves, and opportunities to make lots and lots of money. Investors want to be less wrong over time, and they need a system that functions transparently to do so, which the crypto markets will provide. This was just another step towards progress.